Every self-portrait I've ever drawn has come out, well, questionable at best. So, I gave myself a challenge. Study head anatomy, learn the rules, and see if I can finally fix it. Will it work? Let's find out. By the way, hi, if you're new here, my name is Sil, and I'm an artist from Slovakia, now living in Denmark to pursue my dream of becoming a full-time artist. This channel is all about documenting my journey, not only to make art my career, but to also get as good at it as possible. And with that, let's make some art. But before we do that, I have to tell you the backstory of my art studying adventures. Although I'm very focused on learning my fundamentals now, this wasn't always the case. When I first started drawing, I drew many portraits, but despite the practice, I never mastered them. I was too focused on copying references one-to-one instead of trying to understand the structure that lays beneath the skin. I'm quite ashamed to show this to you, but this was my first self-portrait circa 2019. It is quite obvious I did not know what I was doing, but that did not discourage me from drawing. For years I thought that if I just kept drawing portraits over and over, eventually I would understand head anatomy anyway, because repetition and practice makes perfect. Right? Unfortunately, I could not have been more mistaken. If you truly want to understand something, you have to look deeper than surface level. You have to question why it looks the way it looks. So for example, why is there a shadow here or a highlight there? It took years of drawing really bad portraits, but eventually I thankfully realized I did need to take my art fundamentals more seriously. So I started studying. I started on YouTube by searching tutorials on head anatomy, and I spent hours studying and drawing. But I had trouble understanding some of the basic concepts because I was studying from different sources who explained things differently, and that caused a lot of confusion. This ended up leading to me hating studying and it feeling like I have to climb a massive mountain every time I wanted to learn art. And so I stopped studying for a while. Until one day, when the urge to study hit me again. Months and months of not stimulating my brain, and it felt like life had been sucked out of me. And that's when I put two and two together. I don't hate studying itself, I was just going about it the wrong way. I did not need more willpower, motivation, or reminders to study. What I needed was structure. And that's exactly when I remember that Proco existed and went straight to my iPad to go on their website. By the way, this is not sponsored. Although I wanted to buy some of their courses for a very long time, I felt like there was so much material online for free that if I was to make things easier for myself by paying for a course, I would be lazy. And that's pretty stupid. So while I was on the Proco website, I immediately noticed Michael Hampton's course on head construction. It looked amazing, it was not that expensive, and Michael seemed very sympathetic to me. So I bit the bullet and I finally bought a course from Proco. And for me, it might have been the best decision I have made so far in my artistic journey. Having a structured course made it so much easier to study. I did not have to worry about looking for materials to study from anymore, it was all there for me in one place. Sure, the assignments were challenging, but isn't that the point? They actually forced me to put theory into practice, which I think is the most efficient way to learn anything, especially art. I finally liked studying art again. By the way, this is not me saying that you need to buy a paid course to study art properly. If you have the time and energy, there's so much free material out there that there's nothing stopping you from learning art without spending a penny. After I completed the course, I felt ready to try drawing another self-portrait again. This time, I felt much more confident. So I took a picture of me as a reference and I started with a sketch, as one does. This time, I was focusing on drawing my features as simple forms instead of copying pixel by pixel. I think it took me around an hour to sketch my face, half of what it would usually take me to do so. When the sketch was done, I moved on to the rendering. And here's where I realized I might have made a mistake. My reference was taken in a very poorly lit environment. My skin looked very gray and all the colors in the entire picture were dull. So as I was trying to paint the colors that I saw in the reference, I noticed that my portrait turned out to look very dull as well. I haven't put that much time into studying color theory yet, and so trying to fix dull colors in a reference is pretty much an impossible task for me. And this is especially crucial if you want to make a profile picture, because a profile picture should be catchy and vibrant and appealing to the eye. If I had more knowledge on skin tones, lighting, and color theory in general, I could have probably fixed this, but that wasn't the case. I kept trying to render the portrait and fix the colors, but at some point I decided it was a waste of time. So I decided to let this portrait be and have it be a lesson for my future self, to either think of how my reference is lit or to study color and lighting and skin tones, so later if I ever come across this issue I can fix it. Ideally, both. I know not finishing this portrait may sound really negative and like I failed the challenge, but I on the contrary consider the challenge a success. You gotta consider that before studying the course, I would get stuck not only on the sketching phase, but also on the rendering phase. This time I only got stuck during the rendering. I also felt much more confident sketching my face, and I felt like if somebody asked me to repeat the process, I could, because for the first time I had a slight clue of what I was doing, and I wasn't just mindlessly copying a reference. I of course wanted this video to be a complete success and have an amazing new profile picture and come across new roadblocks along the way, but I'm very happy that I came across these roadblocks. This challenge helped me realize that I'm lacking in another area of art, and therefore I have something new to learn and study, and that excites me, because failing and coming across new roadblocks is extremely important for improving. Improvement isn't linear, it's a sum of small and sometimes rocky efforts towards bettering yourself. Speaking of improvement, I run a Discord server where I host a weekly challenge called the Weekly Fundamentals, and the idea is pretty simple. To keep a streak, you need to post a picture of whatever art studies you're doing that week at least once a week in the text channel. You can also track how many days you spent actively studying art during every month, and I think this is a great way to stay consistent, be part of an art community, and stay motivated. And we also have a leaderboard, so in case you want to get really competitive, you get to do so. So no matter your skill level, if you want to improve at art with us, you're free to join the Discord server. I will leave the link down below. Thank you for sticking with me throughout this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.